Dual Cultivation, WN, Chapter 61. The Struggles of the Weak. Zhang Shu Ying bit down on her bottom lip as an intense feeling of pain appeared in her nether region. It felt as though she was pierced by a sharp sword. She looked down at her stomach where there was a slight bulge, and a wave of inexplicable emotions surged through her mind. Although she knew that she would one day lose her virginity, she had never imagined that it would be lost this way, to some random esteemed guest within the Burning Lotus auction house. You really are a foolish woman. Su Yang sighed inwardly upon seeing the tears that had been resisting to fall in Zhang Shu Ying's eyes finally fall down her face. This Wang Ming is an inner court disciple at the Burning Lotus Palace, and he is in the process of becoming a core disciple. He is a genius with no equal within the inner court, and he is the cousin of Elder Wang, but he is also an individual whose heart is rotten to its core. There are many rumors of Wang Ming abusing his status to force outer court disciples to serve him in bed. Zhang Shu Ying explained her situation to Su Yang without needing him to ask, almost as if she knew that he would eventually ask. And prior to coming to this Burning Lotus auction house, under the guise of needing to speak to me of private matters, he requested that I visit his living quarters alone when I return. Zhang Shu Ying trembled upon recalling the wicked smile this Wang Ming had when he spoke to her. At that moment it felt like she was standing before a bandit with a prestigious status. I have a few friends within the outer court that have already fallen victim to this Wang Ming's vicious hands, and knowing that he would soon become a core disciple, an undeniable existence within the sect, I would not be able to escape from him. Su Yang silently listened to her story that was very common within the cultivation world, where those without status or power are always under the pressure of someone stronger. Incidents of someone of a higher status or rank pressuring those with a lower status to do unethical deeds are a common occurrence not just in this world but also in his previous life in all four worlds. Though, it also happens in the mortal world, where there are noble ranks and social classes. Su Yang understood very well the cruelty of this world, even experiencing the feeling of powerlessness himself a few times while being pressured by those who used to stand above him. I would go to the sect elders, but I already know the outcome of such meaningless actions. Zhang Shu Ying closed her eyes and tightly embraced Su Yang with her face directly on his chest. I am just an ordinary outer court disciple whilst Wang Ming is a genius with a bright future ahead of him. They will most certainly rather allow him to perform a few immoral acts than to cause a commotion for someone like me, who has no noteworthy background, not to mention that he is also the cousin of Elder Wang. After crying silently on Su Yang's chest for a few minutes, Zhang Shu Ying slowly released her embrace on him and smiled. I apologize to the esteemed guest for the unsightly display, and I greatly appreciate the esteemed guest for listening to my boring story. Please, allow me to serve you to the best of my abilities. Zhang Shu Ying, who was sitting on Su Yang's laps, began to move her hips slowly. She covered her mouth with one hand to prevent herself from filling the room with her moans while the other held onto Su Yang to support her balance. Although it was extremely painful at first, she quickly familiarized herself with the feeling, soon finding only pleasure within that pain. Her body was heated, and her stomach felt like it was burning, but she continued moving her body, looking like she was doing squats. At this moment, the only thing that could be heard by Zhang Shu Ying was the sound of her muffled breathing mixed in with moaning, and the vulgar noises coming from her soaking wet cave, with the rowdiness from the auction room completely removed from her perceptions. While Zhang Shu Ying enjoyed herself, Su Yang silently recalled all the injustice he had experienced in the earlier years of his past life. As someone from a common background, he knew very well the sorrow and suffering those without power or status had to endure from those who did. Su Yang gazed at the dazed face of Zhang Shu Ying, who seemed to be lost in pleasure, and then he looked at Wang Shuren who was still on the stage, seemingly pondering about something. By this time, the auction had already sold a few items, and there were 36 monster cores currently displayed on the stage. When the guests saw how many monster cores were together in one place, their eyes bulged with surprise. There are so many monster cores. How many is that? Wang Shuren smiled upon seeing the crowd's surprise. These are all yin lightning monster cores from the lightning cats that have recently been running rampage at the Thunder Valley, and they were all obtained by a single powerful individual. There are 36 of them to be auctioned today. Someone managed to obtain 36 monster cores alone? Whoever is auctioning this must have killed at least 1,000 lightning cats. The crowd was shocked after the exact number of monster cores was revealed. The chances of obtaining a monster core were 1 in 100, so for there to be 36 monster cores of the same beast, someone would have needed to slay thousands of lightning cats. At least that was what the guests believed, and they could not imagine the massacre that must have happened at the Thunder Valley for there to be so many monster cores in one place.